With the big board about 95% filled, there's not a lot of time left to get teams in. So now it's time to start to reflect on the fades. Who are the players that either directly, advertently, or inadvertently I'm not taking enough of? Let's talk about it. I am, of course, already in a draft room here. I think a good amount of regulars in this one. I'm seeing a guy, TM Longacre, Mr. one of the top 10 finishers in BBM last year. So you'll be seeing a sharp draft out of here. And some other guys we've gone up and down with, FFB holes. We'll see how the B holes are doing. How the B holes are doing today is how that goes. Shout out to the chat though. Lots of people here bright and early trying to dabble. Chunk did not dabble unless your username is something that I don't remember. But here we go. GMs indeed. Shout out all you guys. Let's go. Let's effing go, huh, guys? Let's heckin' go. That's what I'm gonna open the stream with. Not supposed to curse in the first 10 seconds, at least 30 seconds of the video, maybe. So there we go. Tyler brags about having 0 chub. I hope he's got some chub in his life. Tyler, nice tweet from him this morning talking about his time building a NASA piece. I didn't read the whole tweet enough because I was right about to do the show, but cool photos from Tyler. Proud of him. Hurt your brand. I would have 0 chub. Yeah, the 0% guys to me in the first one. Not 0%. I don't think there's anybody I am zeroed on. Let me make my pick and we'll talk about it. There is a guy that I am low on right now. Breece Hall I have 1% of. And honestly, I'm not in on the Jets. Garrett Wilson, you can see him angrily looking at me on the thumbnail. Not the biggest fan of the Jets overall. I don't know that's a stand that I want to really make. I'm also intrigued by Bijan here. I think I'm low on him as well. I'm actually going to get a share of Bijan. Let's see what we do with this. I'm an RB Piggy, of course, bright and early here on the stream. Let's pull out the GIF. Oh, I can't help myself. I just have to grab. I need running backs. Who could imagine a life without Bijan Robinson? Of course, there's a million ways it could go wrong in this pass-heavy offense. All the great Vikings backs we remember, right, with Kirk Cousins at QB. Dalvin Cook, woo, we got a taste of that at pick 5. What a treat. Anyway, I'm an RB Piggy. I'm ashamed. Somewhere, I'm sure Luca at daycare feels pain in his heart, pain in his soul. Where was I at on Bijan ownership? I was at 5.2% on Bijan before. And at Breece, I am currently at 1.7% Breece Hall, including the little board for me. So Breece is a big fade for me. Garrett Wilson, a big fade for me. I'm at 3% for Garrett Wilson. I am just not a believer in the Jets, I think is what I feel right now. Can that change? Should it change? Maybe it should. I don't want to be zeroed out on the Jets overall. And to me, 1 to 3% is pretty much zeroed out. But in terms of Breece, my concern is that, A, there's more weapons coming in. A lot of how he got there last year, I mentioned enough times, was getting those heavy, aggressive checkdowns. They had no one else to throw the ball to, no one else in that offense capable of doing anything. Obviously, that did come with really depreciated QB play as well, and the hope is with Aaron Rodgers, it'll be better. But I think his best case outcome is like the Jets being a really good defense, the offensive line being better, and them running the ball a lot. And Aaron Rodgers, I don't know that he can hold up for a whole year. So what if we end up in the same situation with even worse QB play? This is not in on the Jets overall. I've mentioned enough with Garrett Wilson. I think that he is going to suffer from having Mike Williams there if he can be healthy. If they bring in a Brock Bowers, if they bring in a Malik Neighbors, it all hurts Garrett Wilson. So the Jets, to me, maybe they're going to be better than I'm giving them credit for. I think they are still a top Super Bowl contending team. The defense good enough for sure to carry you through. But really, I think that's just the issue for me is the Jets. I think I have a blind spot for the Jets. Bijan, I don't have a blind spot for. I love Atlanta. Him being the Kyron Williams of Atlanta's offense would be great, but I'm just not there. I've not been there enough to be at 8%, the field's expected exposure. FFB holes going, wide receivers going hot and heavy here. Oh, boy. Should we go 2 running backs and really embarrass myself? I mean, these are my last few big board drafts, so if we were going to do something weird, this would be the time to do it. A little bit of a discount on Taylor. Was kind of hoping that we'd be able to get a shot at Drake London at 19, but that will not be the case, obviously. I am high on Nico right now. High on life as well. I'm going to go, again, another share of Nico. I'm still good taking shares of Houston here. Nico's price is stabilized. Kind of to my surprise, though, I think with the social media pushback being what it was, especially a lot of popular creators immediately shitting on Stephon Diggs and saying, hey, he wasn't that good last year, blah, blah, blah. I think Diggs' ADP was on the way up. Now Nico has stayed ahead of him. In BBM, I kind of wonder if that'll flip, but I think it's probably going to be locked in that Nico stays a little bit ahead of Diggs, even if both guys come back down a little bit more. That's right. Jets have Tyrod Taylor as a backup. Good point. So I guess that would be an improvement as a backup then. So I stand corrected on that one. But again, I'm just not the biggest Jets guy. That division is tough, man. Like you have the Bills, you have the Dolphins, you have the Patriots, who I think will be improved and maybe galvanized a little bit behind having finally some fresh air in that building. So I think there's a lot of ways that it could be bad for the Jets. And your QB, your main bet is still like a guy in his 40s that just coming off an Achilles tear. So that's how I mostly feel about the Jets. But I don't know. I think people have a blind spot for Brees. I think he was good last year. I think he came back. For him to have put up, I think what his numbers are, if I'm remembering correctly, Brees. And you know what? He's a negative EPA rusher. Negative 0.1 EPA per rush, negative 0.03 EPA per pass, 17% avoided tackle rate. You know, still good enough at volume. And it's obviously in a shitty offensive environment for Brees. But it's just like, what if it is again? I don't know. And even if it's better, it's like it still hurts Brees too. So to me, it's just kind of a lose-lose. But that's how I view it for Brees and Garrett Wilson, if nothing else. 0 Saquon, JT, Big Dog Jacobs do have one share of Chubb. I think, well, we'll find those guys. I'm trying to wait until we go round to round. I think I'm low on Jonathan Taylor right now. I will say that. Taylor, you have at 1.8% Jonathan Taylor right now. And I think that's only my big board drafts. H-Han, I'm with the field with. I have 8% of H-Han. I might be close to the field on Saquon. No, you know what? 1.8% Saquon. I've taken Saquon, I guess, 1 or 2 times. Okay. 0-1-1 here. God, this has been not pleasant pockets for me to be drafting. I don't want the, or do I? Is that unique? I'm going to get Nico and Tank here. I don't think it's unique at all because this was a thing that was achievable in the past, but maybe with Nico being a little bit higher, maybe it was hard to get. I feel like I've seen it happen on stream before, but we're going to go with Bijan, Nico, and Tank, and I'm sure CJ Stroud will not come back to me, and then we'll make another plan. That's how it goes in every room. CJ Stroud has to go, whether he's correlated or not. He's got to go to somebody else that is not the guy that is me. Brees put up 43 touches per game. I mean, he was doing some crazy shit. Saquon is the one that I remember too. 40 hit that last year per game in one game. It's hard to get that many touches, which is a skill. To rope some dumb coach and giving you 40 touches in a game is a skill. Shouts to Christopher here. JSN to make a massive leap forward this year. I think right now, I was thinking about this actually the other day. So shouts to Christopher for the super chat, first of all. It's an interesting thought because now everybody's locked in. Pete put out the video, which was part of his Deposit Kingdom ADP, a ranking comparison video. And he had put out this short scene where it's like Tyler Lockett. Everybody thinks Tyler Lockett's the best play. And I saw I'm on TikTok for probably once every day. So I see Pete's videos a lot in my feed. And it's like, this is probably his most liked video. I think Tyler Lockett, or the concept of Tyler Lockett being undervalued and JSN being overvalued, is now one of those things that is becoming a chalk take, to the point that I do wonder if JSN is maybe a little bit undervalued. So I was thinking about this. I think it's not a bad take at all. I think JSN, I think he's coming down for a reason, but that said, I totally get why, for the most part, there's going to be value in that. And, in tournament kind of plays, and these kind of things as well, where JSN's now, 20 picks cheaper, maybe almost 30 picks cheaper in some drafts that he was going before. It's pretty crazy. Seattle offense, super interesting with from Washington, a new OC from Washington. Yeah, I mean, that's the hope, is that the offense is completely open and then JSN benefits as a result. The issue is really that Lockett's route tree, I think, takes away from JSN's best route tree, but he's still not going to be getting the low ADOT he had last year, where, let's see, Smith. Also, Devontae Smith, big new contract, getting paid what A.J. Brown's getting paid. JSN last year, 0.07 EPA per target, which is not bad given that his ADOT was 6.4 intended air yards per target. So he was not featured downfield at all. The hope is that having this new offensive coordinator will make him get there a little bit more. Okay, is Stroud actually going to come back to me? That's the concern I have in these rooms. And I kind of just want a Stroud stack. I want a pretty little Stroud stack to take home to mama. And I'm going to do that. I just want to get this. I got this double. I get sniped on Stroud very often. We're taking Stroud at 43. And I believe he should be ahead of Patrick Mahomes. I've said that on stream enough times. I think if you're going to talk about somebody having an outlier historical kind of passing year, I think CJ Stroud is much more likely to do that right now than Patrick Mahomes. No disrespect to Patrick Mahomes and his talent, obviously, but his talent right now is focused on efficiently winning games with hopefully a defense that can carry him. We'll see if the defense can be as good. Defense not that sticky year to year. We know that stuff. For Stroud, though, they've given him the weapons now where he has the most, I think, elite trio of wide receivers in the league, especially if you're account for guys who are younger and going to get better, like a Tank should. And Nico, I guess, still can have a little bit more of a ceiling than he's shown. And Diggs too, Diggs has a point to prove now, and he's not that old, even though he is a vet by the standards of this wide receiver class coming in. That's going to populate a lot of wide receiver depth charts across the league. That's how it goes. Got to get your guys sometimes. Yeah, look, it just, there's going to be cheaper versions of the team. That's my bummer, but it is what it is. Don't tell Brandon Ayuk the teams can afford to pay 2 wide receivers elite money. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a balance for sure. It's all about how you stack those deals up. And if you have the QB for cheap on that rookie deal, it allows you to make the contracts for other guys that are high priority players around them. And then you can be capped out when your QB comes to term and hopefully is at that point giving you a shot to win Super Bowls, or hopefully, having won a Super Bowl even better. But obviously, that's always not going to be the outcome for a lot of these teams. So that's the downside of the trying to team build. You team build around the wrong guy, and then the whole foundation kind of cracks underneath. But now most Seahawks except DK might take some in summer drafts. Yeah, JSN will jump Lockett. I don't think that he's going to jump Lockett necessarily. I think the hope is that you just get more 3 wide receiver sets. You should be seeing a less 12 personnel, less 2 tight end sets out there. I think that would be a pretty decent assumption to make. So in my mind, I think there's still an okay bet to make on JSN. But I think that's a bet that you're making that on the entire Seattle offense. Like, if they come out slinging it and Geno Smith is playing like Michael Penix did in college last year because this offense got carried over, then everybody's going to look better as a result. And probably Geno is undervalued going into the 180s, 170s, wherever he goes. All right, you've got a 1-1-2-0 here. I don't like starving myself at wide receiver like this, but I think we had this bet on Houston, and I like making interesting bets on Houston. To me, they are a preferred team right now. And I think Pete was talking about this on his stream earlier. Of course, Pete and I reunited on Saturday. If you missed that one, for a boozy best ball draft where we were drinking each round and we disagreed on picks. Pete was talking about Joe Mixon and how the price tag he thinks for BBM comes up. I agree with that. I think Mixon probably gets to the 4. If ATN's going to go to 48, I just think Mixon should be ahead of him and Rachaad White. I think Mixon should be 47. And honestly, Mixon with Cook, I get people like Cook. I think that's not as far off either. So I don't know. For me, Joe Mixon undervalued right now, and especially if you're making this bet on Houston, which I am happily doing here. Love Houston. Houston and Atlanta, 2 chalk bets right now, but 2 chalk bets I'm happy to make. My concern with Geno is not starter week 17. Well, that's the thing, is like if you're making a bet on Seattle being the pro version of Washington's offense, you should be making the bet on Geno, because Geno probably has to succeed for that to work, unless you're saying to give Geno the quick hook and maybe that's what makes the offense work. But I think that's asking a lot from that parlay. Like, I think if you want to make a bet on Seattle right now, I would make it with Geno at least half the time. I'm not making enough Seattle bets, and I'm talking myself into it here. But I think that's how I would approach it, is that, because for Metcalf to hit the ground running, for Lockett, for JSN to hit the ground running, even for maybe one of Walker or Charbonnet, ambiguous backfield, take your choice there. I'd prefer Charbonnet. I'm at the cheaper price tag. But one of those guys, at QB is going to make for a lot of production then, because we're saying this offense becomes something. And, I think it's worth a shot. If DK Metcalf just gets treated like Rome Odunze last year and gets 160 air yards a game, he's going to be a much better player for it. That's been his biggest issue. He just doesn't get the volume and doesn't get the downfield depth of targets enough. Oh, Christopher hit me with the hee. We're back to where's Travioli here? He's got another member of the hee gang. It's you two guys and Michael Jackson and Willy Wonka when he's coming off creepily. The hee boys. All right, we got Mixon. We got 2 Houston wide receivers, and we got Bijan. Look, we got an interesting team. We're making bets on team level bets on Houston. And then a bet that just Atlanta doesn't funnel as many touchdowns to the pass game as people think, which is a tough bet, but it's a bet. Went down a Spags rabbit hole after the Best Ball After Dark last weekend. What kind of rabbit hole are we talking about? Are we looking at Rihanna articles? Is that kind of rabbit hole? Brian Thomas goes, a player I would love to get in this range, but good pick by Who'da Thunk It, or Houlda Thunk It, perhaps. I haven't identified. I have some more fades in this round. I think I'm low on Kittle, which makes me sad. Again, as one of few guys. I got 5% Kittle. Could be lower, but I'm low on Kittle. Kincaid, I think I'm low on just because he goes a little bit earlier than I'm ready for. Brock Bowers would have been a nice pick there. Obviously, happy to do that. We have discounted Anthony Richardson, which I'm tapping my foot if you guys can't hear it. I don't know how. 67, Anthony Richardson. I mean, look, we're low at wide receiver. We're going to have to make up a lot of volume there, but I'll never. I think I'm under the field on AR. I might not be under, but I'm not as high as I should be based on historicals. So AR, come on down. Let me look at my Richardson exposure right now. I'm at 14% AR. I'm okay. He's not Jaden Daniels level for me where he's 34%. I think the rookie going too cheap there, but AR at pick 67. I love that price tag. There we go. Do it. Jersey time for the Pennsylvania guy. Let's go AR to the moon. Please don't ever call me the Pennsylvania guy. Yeah. All right. So we're done at QB. And if Houston plays Indianapolis in week 17, which would be a dope matchup and potentially one that could matter for the division, I guess, that'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick. All right. We're doing it. This team, I couldn't let you have him. I couldn't. How could I? Do you have Pittman? Oh, yeah, no. You don't even have any. You don't have any Colts. You're fine. The only guy who could be mad at me would be the Pittman guy, but he took Mahomes. He took unstacked Mahomes, so he's an idiot. Really, it's on him. Take AR at 51. I'm here. I'm in Pennsylvania, not by choice. Please don't. I was in LA by choice. I was in New York by choice. I'm not in Pennsylvania by choice. I'm in Pennsylvania for sacrifice. This is my Batman getting his back broken by Bane period. It's a lot of B's. Aaron Jones goes 74. So look, it's a nice price tag, even though I'll happily take Ty Chandler on the anti-Aaron Jones leverage. And as I talk about a lot here, Vikings getting a decent amount of top 30 visits to running backs. So something to watch out for. If they got a Jonathan Brooks somehow, that would be pretty upsetting for Aaron Jones bags long-term. Oh, you're also in Pennsylvania. Okay, Mr. There we go. So he's the Pennsylvania guy. Colts competing for the division. Good job. They were almost in the hunt this year. They were in the hunt this year. All right, 2220. We gotta get some players that we like here that are not quarterbacks. DeAndre Hopkins, I do like the bet on Tennessee. And again, guys, another AFC South bet. Oh, we're stacking up divisions. Watch out for me in the big board. Team so far, CJ Stroud, discount AR. That's why the jersey is on. Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins. I think we are living a little. We built uniquely here, and we'll see if we can stick it. All time, let's go. Shout out our guy Bindles here. Appreciate him a bunch. Of course, check out Bindles' YouTube channel as well. Always give them the free ad time. Or no, I guess not free. The paid ad time. Support Bindles' political campaigns. Sacrifice the misses. Yeah, we moved here to be closer to her family, who is in South Jersey, and but not too close, which is kind of a stupid half measure thing, if you know Breaking Bad. But yeah, sacrifice for that, and also for for Luca to have a backyard for at least part of his childhood. At some point when you have enough money, hopefully we'll move back to LA. But obviously affording a house in LA is you got to have BBM 5 money to afford a house. And even that might not cover the whole house. It's your down payment, BBM 5 money. Next door to you in South Jersey, born and raised in Philly, though. There you go. All right. I mean, I guess that explains all the Embiid-based handles for our guy Tyreek. But look, I don't mind the area. It's hard, though, if, New York to Philly, I feel like is a little bit of a downgrade move. No disrespect to the Philly locals. But I love New York City, grew up there. And LA is like, LA is like the opposite of New York, but still a lot of similarities there in terms of, the types of people, the types of things you see. So hard for me to live in the suburbs of Philly. I'm just not a suburban creature, but obviously the more you just get stuck in it, you just kind of get used to it. Like a dog in an apartment, you get used to whatever condition you get. Worried about my RBs. But you know what? You're not worried about GA. You're not worried about the QBs. The QBs are looking good. Shout out to all you guys watching live, by the way, as we wait for the next pick to come up. Appreciate you all being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. Hit the like button as well. Your likes matter a bunch here. As an independent channel, single proprietor channel, the likes help me get seen by more people, help me build this up to a real business, and that is the goal here, so we can add more fun stuff. And, of course, Underdog as well. Promo code SPLASH on there. Double your deposit up to $100. Great place to play your best ball, obviously, but also the pick'em's a lot of fun. And if you sign up as well with that promo code, you get a mystery pick'em. If you're a new customer, what a treat. I say that. That didn't sound genuine at all. But what a treat. Wait, was that better? I think that was better. Downloading some NBA DFS tonight. Not in the plans, I don't think. Unfortunately. I don't know if there's big tournaments, but I feel like the tournaments, they really cut the tournaments dry on DraftKings at the end of the year. Honestly, I feel like the prize pools for the Battle Royales on Underdog looking a lot better for basketball. I feel like 10K for first place, some of those tournaments when I've been seeing, might be a little bit more worth your time, though. At this point, honestly, with how the Badge Bros and those guys are putting in work, it might be close to getting figured out. But, the degree of randomness of drafts, I think, still going to make it harder to quote-unquote figure out. All right, we have a 2-2-3-0. Things are looking tough, guys. We're going to have to really crush some pockets at different times. I like DeAndre Swift. You guys know that. I think I could still figure it out at receiver. I believe in me. I'm shaking guys that I believe in here, and Swift is one of them. So a 2-3-3-0. We have problems. We haven't assuaged GA's concerns. I'll admit that. We have CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, look, we're just going to say in this team that Houston stack is hitting every week. It's just these two. We're doing something different. VD Mitchell goes to KC's. He's the biggest steal of the draft. I mean, he'd be fancy MVS again. How many fancy MVSs do they need? I think he and Marquise Brown would cut into each other a little bit too much. I guess it depends what Rashee Rice's suspension is, though. That's a different role entirely, being kind of an underneath receiver. So I think they would cannibalize each other. I think that'd be bad for both guys, but the markets probably would treat it like they both should go up. I think the stupid way that would be handled, but I think that would be the way that it would be handled. Live a little, Mr. Piggy. I mean, really, I've never warranted the gift more now. This has been full RB pickery. I guess maybe taking 3 in the first 3 rounds would be it, but it's just like too good of a value. And these are guys I like. I really do think Swift is a good play this year. Love the contract he got. Swift for me, exposure wise. Yeah, look, for a running back, I'm at 12.5% Swift. So for me, that's a pretty big cosign on a running back before pick 100. And Mixon, where am I at with Mixon? I've been trying to prioritize Mixon. Yeah, I'm only at 3.6% Mixon. So I'm technically fading him right now. And I don't want to be. Mixon I got to take this GIF off, even though it does sum up the draft. Mixon is one guy that I definitely have a lot of faith in. Jameson Williams, 97. I think I'm happy with that price if you get him. Does a lot of people, though, in Detroit thinking that there is going to be a wide receiver going to Detroit in the first 2 rounds, which would be fairly upsetting, I think, for some people out there in the draft capital, where if you get, I don't even know, but anybody, really, you get a Ladd McConkey, that probably hurts Amon-Ra a little bit, changes the depth of things a little bit. If you get a Troy Franklin type, an A.D. Mitchell type to Detroit, that's going to upset what Jameson Williams' value is. So Detroit, somebody to watch out for them kind of upsetting their stack coming up soon. These are really good running backs here. But I don't want to keep taking running backs. I mean, we're going to go with the thesis, I guess, that Tyler Lockett is the last great receiver. And we're going to take a little bet on Seattle and hope that he is undervalued right now and all the frothiness in the fantasy football media makes him come up. So, team so far, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyler Lockett. So, we've gotten to 4 receivers at pick 102. Definitely a veteran-heavy presence besides the Houston guys. So we're doing something. Myers for this build, or Mayers. Who's this imposter? It's the Flock stream. Does he still draft a lot of running backs early? I've not watched one of his streams in a while. I don't know if my bits and my takes on him are outdated, so I can't even speak. I can't speak for what he's doing. Just like this sort of learning experience, I appreciate doing the learning on Spags dime. I mean, look, I try different things sometimes. It's all relative to value pockets and how you perceive things. And ultimately, if you do stuff like this, it's just you have to bail yourself out. Like I have to make up volume at wide receiver. Of course, with my confidence in my rookie takes, I think that I can make up that value at wide receiver if I have to. So I'm comfortable doing it here. And frankly, I should do more builds like this because I do like getting some of these running backs. I like some of the vets in really good spots. I like some of the fun younger guys like Bijan. I do like Brees in terms of his talent level, even if I worry about the Jets. Achane, of course, I like analytically one of the best running backs in football last year, especially at his level of volume. So, but I didn't do enough of it in the big board, to be honest. I've still stuck with the zero RB stuff, still been locked in on that. So that's how it goes. Did I bring my walking cane for this wide receiver room? That's just rude. It's just rude. ETR bump for Lockett is real. He's going to come up. I think he's going to come up to at least where JSN is once we get to Best Ball Mania. All right, here we go. A room where Troy Franklin goes at 109 still. I guess happy to see it spiritually. Less happy to see it for me needing to bail out a wide receiver room. Troy Franklin, my exposure, despite all the issues, 19.6% Troy Franklin right now. So my bet's been made on him, and I am happy to do it. An Spags team, I like it. Charlie, another top 3 BBM finisher 2 years ago. So all the stars are out tonight in chat. Surrounded by good company is always here, which I appreciate on the Splash Play channel. And of course, guys, again, subscribe, hit that like button below. Get into the mix here. Best ball drafts every Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. That is what I offer up to you. It's what I offer up to the gods as well. Though tomorrow we're competing against ADP chasing. So no, they don't do drafts. So that's the positive. But yeah, fuck it, guys. Everybody wants that sweet 11 a.m. spot because it fits well for when people want to wake up and people want to start doing content, both on the East Coast and the West Coast. So tough competition at 11 a.m. But we persevere. We own 11 a.m., boys. This is me being a 1920s boxer. All right. We got to bail ourselves out at wide receiver. And shout out to our guy, Adam, who I don't know if you've DM'd me or not yet, Adam, but you have to for your guest spot coming up. Ladd McConkey, my wide receiver 5. You're getting youthful. He doesn't need a walking cane. He can carry Tyler Lockett if he needs to. Fireman's carry. Give him the old Samoan drop if he needs to. Happy to get Ladd here. We needed Ladd here. Oh, good point. Gabe for the AFC South bet. I could completely dominate the AFC South. Which, look, I've been dominating it already. We'll see. Let's see if he comes back. I tried. I'm not. Oh, okay. So you might be in my requested. I'll check it, Adam. I'll check it. But okay. That's on me then. That's on me. I don't check the DM requests often. I don't have a need to at this point in the game. Also, not that there's ever women reaching out to me anymore. That ship has sailed, boy. There was a good time in the 2010s where things were crushing on social media. Now these days, oof. Happy to get attention in the kitchen from the wife. Am I right, fellas? Now we're doing sitcom Kevin James bits. Gabe Davis goes to Frost here, or F-Ross. Biddle's only his eyes for splash play. Thank you. Thank you. You don't go chasing those ADPs with the other boys. Stay here. We let the ADPs come to us. I don't have to chase ADPs. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't need to go chasing no ADPs. Hey, we got a pick coming up. Oh, boy, a lot of QBs on the board. Blake Corum being linked to the Chargers again, which is going to be very tilting if it happens, to be honest. It's been the most logical take, but also was such a chalk take that I never went along with it. And now we are at a point in life in which I think that Blake Corum might go to the Chargers. And hopefully he just doesn't get there this year. He still doesn't have a lot of juice, but the willfulness potentially of Jim Harbaugh to try to get over his college running back in the pros is definitely there. All right, here's what we wanted. Dalton Schultz, we got him here. We're able to get him 6 picks after ADP. Team coming together, a 2-3-5-1. CJ Stroud and AR. Yeah, at QB. At running back, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift. Wide receiver, we got Nico Collins, Tank Dell. But they're not alone. It's DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Ladd McConkey, the tight end, Dalton Schultz. How could you do better? How could you manage these pockets better? Scooping up values left and right, snarfing it up like Garfield does. A common lasagna. Doing it. Schultz might as well. Chargers is Corum's only top 30 visit. Yeah, because he sucks. He sucks. He's going to fucking nepotism his way into potentially a very good role. Triple stack Texans plus Joe Mixon coming along for the party. Who doesn't want Joe Mixon at their party? Especially if you have one of those arcade boxing machines that he can punch instead of the local people. Then you want Joe Mixon at your party. You go, hey, Joe, go to town, set some records. And then you keep the ladies at arm's length. How about the biggest Corum slap here on? Really, he's got him in all his fantasy leagues. He's been taking him 101 in Dynasty right now. All right, we're making all sorts of jokes. Fantasy football jokes, Dynasty jokes. Which, boy, you get it all here on Splash Play. Am I right, folks? Jersey, men putting on clothes. It's like Mr. Rogers in here. Which, of course, I loved. I love that process of him taking off his shoes. Weird to train children on watching a man take off his shoes, but damn it if he didn't make it ASMR. He made it work. When probably don't want Mixon at their party. Yeah, he's not getting invited to a lot of Bachelor watch-alongs, I don't think. But, you know, who knows? Who knows? Chris Brown has fans out there. All right. QBs, Blake Corum on the board. Oh, don't you? How dare you? Oh, don't you? Blake Corum here, Jalen Wright here. Honestly, not a bad RB pocket. We could go that way. We could dabble depending on what these next four guys do. I don't think that's what people think anymore about Bill Cosby. I think the perception has changed. Blake Corum goes. We are now saved from Blake Corum, though. That's a positive. My Blake Corum exposure. Honestly, I might regret the fade. It's going to be really fucking annoying if he gets the nepotism spot. I got 3.6% Corum, which I feel like if you have half the field's exposure of a guy that you don't really want, you don't want to believe in, but might luck box a situation, I think that's a fair exposure. So I don't feel bad about my Blake Corum right now. We'll take the big board closing at 4% or slightly less. Oh, my show. Yes, my show's known for its wholesomeness. That's what we try to do. All right, 2, 3, 5, 1. Can keep making it up at running back. Hawkinson doesn't really do a lot for us. Freiermuth doesn't do a lot for me conceptually. I don't get enough Xavier Leggett, and we do still have to make up a little bit at wide receiver. So I'm taking Leggett here as my wide receiver 6. He and Ladd McConkey, I think, if you are in a tight wide receiver situation, if you haven't done well at wide receiver, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Leggett, well, maybe some other guys we'll grab in a moment. I think those are the names you do to make it up a little bit with rookies coming in. I also still think Mims is undervalued too, but that's neither here nor there. Chig last round, keeping the vision. He might lose his job. Chig might get Bauered. I think if it's not the Giants, if it's not the Jets, rather, I think that Tennessee might go Brock Bowers' way. It seems like they're really loading up on some stars. Funniest outcome is when Corn goes to Baltimore, gets Deuce. I fucking hope so. I hope he gets Deuce Vaughn hard. I hope he gets Deuce Vaughn because that was one where I dug my heels in. But it's like it's tough pre-draft because as we talked about a lot here, you can believe a lot about players, how they performed. I'll say it again. Devon Achane did not look great in terms of the advanced analytics because he got too much work at A&M. Then he lands in Miami, and I was like, okay, fuck that. I'm all in on him because he's really fast. He's going to Miami. That paid off pretty well for you. Achane, I was double the field on, so that worked out. But that was the thing where I did have to adjust my priors. If Corum goes to the Chargers, I'll take my shots at him. If Corum goes to somewhere to Minnesota, he's still live because he can take some goal line work. Aaron Jones gets hurt a lot. But again, it's all about that situation. So for me right now, I'm happy to kind of keep Corum at 3 to 4% exposure. And then if he goes somewhere like the Chargers and BBM, like I'll be back. I'll have to be there, even though he just always bums me out when a guy gets, goes from good to worse. And he should have come out the year before last. Like he looked a lot better the year before last. Like in the late first round, getting more steam. Would love him land KC. If they took him, because he could do the Rashee Rice stuff and better, that'd be bad news for old Rashee, I would think. Big QB pocket here. We can really start to, finish up, I think, at running back with how we've used a capital so far. Marshawn Lloyd will be my pick here. I'm tempted by Musgrave. I think Musgrave is a nice pick, but I think for my team, he's not really the pick. So we 2-4-6-1 right now. We have Stroud and AR. No stack partners for AR yet. We'll see if we can find one, though. Maybe one of the rookies could go. Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Marshawn Lloyd. So honestly, I think we have enough production with the top three that with the bet on those guys, I'm comfortable really kind of leaving wide receiver at these four. So we'll see how I handle that. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Lad McConkey, Xavier Leggett, and a tight end, Dalton Schultz. I think this team works. I think there was concern for me with wide receiver, but getting Lad, getting Leggett, knowing I could scoop a few more guys, I think we can make this feel pretty good. Would have been happy to get Pearsall. Would have been okay getting Roman Wilson at that spot, but I think Lloyd works better for my team. Peter Schrager mocked Polk to KC. I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of guys mocked to KC. Like McMillan was their only top 30 visit for a while. Obviously, KC doesn't need to have a guy in to make them as a draft pick, but I think McMillan was the one that looked the best. Let's see if there are any new ones on the Walter Football visit list. No, Kansas City. All right, let's see. And Jonathan Brooks visited Kansas City. That would really mess up some shares of Pacheco. Ben Sinnott, top 30 visit for Kansas City. It's McMillan is the only wide receiver besides Anthony Gould who visited them for a top 30. Oh, and Worthy saw the combine. So I don't know. I still think it's McMillan for them. But the visits might not be everything. Yeah, it's the one thing I have to couch against. But the visits to me, like Troy Franklin going to Buffalo, when you see 3 visits, looks good. When you only have 1 receiver getting a visit so far, I think that looks decent. All right, so 2-4-6-1. Every time now I think of this guy, I think of our guy Jeff in the chat who is here today. Shout out to him being here from Africa. Braylon Allen. I don't think we need him, but I think he's a nice pick right here. And I don't really feel like I need to get Adam Thielen at this point. I think I could get wide receivers later and feel good about them. So the team so far, we have CJ Stroud and AR, of course. Why would I be wearing the jersey if I did not pick Anthony Richardson? Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen. So 2 good rookies, I think, who have potentially nice outcomes coming their way. Nico, Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Lad McConkey, Xavier Leggett, and of course, Dalton Schultz for the Houston correlation. And we probably need at least 1 more tight end, even though Schultz perfectly fine as well. I blessed the Jeffs down in Africa. I'm sorry for singing off key. I promise to not do things in the hope that people listen to the show before going to bed. I promise to not do things that would be enough to wake somebody up. And me singing off key to Toto's Africa might fit that criteria, unfortunately. KC has 1 tackle on the roster. KC will probably target tackle in round 1. We can all dream it's wide receiver. Well, that's the thing is, like, if you go to a McMillan, you're going real late. That's why I think for them, I think they know where they're going to be taking a wide receiver. And if you're looking at McMillan, you're looking at Gould, who doesn't come up for anybody. You're looking at like later in the draft kind of picks, I would think. So if they were talking to Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, be like, what is going on? What are they trying to do? If they were talking to A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy more, Troy Franklin more, we're like, oh, they're looking 1st to 2nd round. Perhaps that's the lowest those guys can go. If you're looking at Pearsall, maybe you're looking at 2 to 3. They're looking at 4 to 5, it feels like. So I think that's not anything to worry about, but still that guy will get drafted, whoever it is. Hunter Henry would have been a nice tight end too for me. Always happy to get Hunter Henry and what I think will be a better New England offense. Nice contract for Hunter Henry too, but obviously just him coming back. The big bet is going to be that Drake May makes his life better. JJ McCarthy makes his life better, perhaps. Though it does seem now, reports today I saw on it was the Legit Football newsletter, which does a nice little daily roundup, talking about the fact that apparently the Cardinals might not want to trade out of pick 4 because they're in love enough with Marvin Harrison. Now that feels like a smokescreen report to try to see like, hey, our team's actually going to make the offer that we need to make this move. So that could be like the last kind of salvo by the Cardinals right now to say, hey, like if you're not going to come up and trade for this guy or trade for this pick, like we're going to take the guy that we like. So that's something to watch out for a little bit. All right, we have you 2-5-6-1. Tight end here is not a thing that fills me with a lot of joy. I feel like Likely is kind of a weak pick. Malachi Corley probably need a good outcome. And again, we could use a little bit of wide receiver still. So Malachi Corley, another rookie that, where am I on exposure? I stopped taking Corley because of him not competing at the combine. Ended up still at 14% Corley, not including today. And I guess that is not a fade for me. It's one where he's gotten a lot of top 30 visits, a lot of teams showing an interest in him. That's the bet you're making, is that because teams are showing an interest, he's going to get a good role. And he earned targets really well at Western Kentucky. The issue is he earned them at Western Kentucky. So that's not 1-to-1, but we saw last year the best comp be Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice earned a lot of targets at SMU in terms of its target per route run rate. Malachi Corley, same thing at a similarly, lowish competition school or lower competition school than you'd want to see. Corley last year, 35% target per route run rate, but only 55 air yards per game. So you're talking really close to the line of scrimmage stuff. And his EPA metrics also not fantastic. 0.13 EPA per target, 0.07 EPA per target out of the slot. So, just not the best. Honestly, not the best pick in the world. The more that I look at his stuff, I'm just like, but I think he's seen enough teams that that's why you're taking the flyer, and that's why I'm taking the flyer on him. You're a Corley slappy. Okay. I guess what's the case? Noah Fant going to run a career high in routes per Rotoviz? Okay. I'm happy to get Noah Fant. I don't usually want to go up and get him because I've seen him go in the 210s enough in these rooms, but with where I am at tight end, that might be an option. Braylon is really just a luck box Cowboys click. Yeah, that's fair. A lot of top 30 visits, a lot more interest in Brooks and Benson than there is in Braylon Allen right now, which could be the reason the Cowboys get him. So I can see the logic in that. Obviously, we'd love to have the Cowboys just be enthusiastic and think he's the best pick, but they might view it as like a top 3. They might view it as a, hey, if we don't get Benson, we don't get Brooks, like Braylon Allen, he's close enough because he's big. But, Bucky Irving's still live too. Cowboys saw Bucky Irving. Texans saw Bucky Irving. So I still would take that flyer. I think Bucky has gotten better visits than Audric Estime has in terms of the guys that I liked analytically. But I think both guys could still do something. It's just let's see where the draft outcome is. Thank you, Charles. Is a splash play slappy. I appreciate that. The more the merrier. The slappier the better. 2571 here. Oh, what do we do here? Oh dear, what shall we do? All right, Tyler Conklin goes. I was going to go up and get Noah Fant. I think that is a good pick for us right here. Want to make some bets on Seattle a little bit more, especially talking it through today. So got Lockett. We got Fant. Who knows? Maybe take a luxury Geno Smith why? I can't imagine a world where I need Geno Smith in this build, but we could take him as a luxury, I suppose. Get a fuck yeah from Mendels. I'll take that. 49ers trade Debo and replace with Corley, similar profile. I mean, Corley is not as big as Debo, not as strong as Debo. Not bad weight though, given how he plays, but I think that Debo is a much better player. But he'd be again the Timu Debo, the Debu. He'd be the bootleg version of Debo, where you're probably keeping 66% is what I would say. You're keeping a maybe Debo production with that. But that is sometimes what teams like the Niners do. Sometimes you get a little too big for your britches, where you just think that you're the thing making the players rather than the players making your system. So that's a possibility. We'll see how they handle, Ayuk. I talked about it yesterday, but Ayuk taking the Niners off of his Instagram, unfollowing. All right, Geno goes, so we don't have to be tempted by him. The guy who takes Geno has JSN, so he's got correlation. Good for him. Always love seeing people actually correlate their plays. And it looks like this guy trying to correlate Malik Neighbors with Aaron Rodgers, perhaps. So kind of interesting move by him. Because that is an outcome. Malik Neighbors visited the Jets. Jets want another weapon out there. I think the better assumption is Brock Bowers, but still an assumption that Malik Neighbors can go there. It's a probability, rather. Also, there's no combine invite. Blake Watson, Missouri. I think we looked at him earlier on, and nothing he did stood out to me because I remember adding him to my sheet. I'm going to try to focus on the pick coming up. Yeah, Blake Watson, 0.06 CPA per rush, 19% stuffed run rate, 90% avoided tackle rate. I don't see anything special. He's an okay pass catcher, 0.29, 0.22 EPA there, but nothing. Again, this class at running back, it's just going to be whoever gets a role. So you're just doing guesswork, and I just wouldn't do too much guesswork like that personally. 2572 here. Again, really don't need another running back at this point, and I'm going to try to force myself not to. Could use a third tight end, but this is kind of an ugly spot at tight end as well. At this point, I'm just going to take pure spike week guys. So Jalen Hyatt, no correlation, nothing that really matters here, but he's an okay pick. And I guess really with this team, I'm hoping that one of Ladd, Leggett, I guess Corley goes to Indianapolis. Is that possible? I think so. Is it probable? Probably not. Ladd could go. Ladd could go to Indianapolis, and I think he can be a more downfield player than he was used, I think, in Georgia. Not a great target earner, but you don't have to be a great target earner to play with AR. So he could be like an Alec Pierce replacement that maybe you move around the formation. Though really, you're going to keep Pittman inside in the slot for the most part. So maybe there isn't a lot of moving around. Something like a Brian Thomas type would make the most sense for Indianapolis to replace Alec Pierce and just hopefully be better than Alec Pierce. But we'll see what happens there. Ladd can play anywhere. I agree he can play anywhere, but I think for Indianapolis, I'm thinking more about how their offense would run. And Bindles bought a splash play and a Dylan Labe t-shirt yesterday. There we go. Shout out Bindles, and go check it out on Pete's store. Pete gets, for what it's worth, just in case this matters, Pete gets the revenue from the splash play purchase. That's so at some point I'll probably ask to take over the merch, but for right now he's actually got fulfillment and stuff for it. To check it out. If you want splash play merch, that's the shirts that I have are from there. Very comfortable shirts as well. I would give him full credit for that. But I would like to expand the Splash Play merch line at some point, would be the hope. Started putting silly phrases on shirts like big titties running back. Like, because that's something that, some bit obviously that we come up with on the show to justify it. I don't know what big titties running back would be. Maybe an RB piggy, just a big snout run with RB on it. Just shit that nobody wants to buy. It's really some point would like to add that. So I'm taking a 20th round rookie. It's Kendall Milton. Dude is a wrecking ball. Oh, there we go. Speaking our guy Adam's language. Kendall Milton looks fine. Again, it's just like, is somebody going to fall in love with him enough? I think it's possible. He did look good analytically from what I saw, but there's really nobody at running back that I hear enough buzz for. The guy that I think has the most buzz but isn't being talked about, Ray Davis, getting as many visits as he's had for the top 30. Like, not crazy about Ray Davis, but he's getting pretty good visits. Dylan Labe, too, getting enough visits as a pass catcher that I think he might get somebody's third down work, and that's, would be pretty useful for him, especially if he is as good as the one game we saw the analytics for, because he played at New Hampshire, so his data did not get all pulled into Sports Info Solutions. Only the one game he had where he went absolutely apeshit in the pass game, and I think caught like 17 balls. He went full J.D. McKissick mode in a way that, for that one game, if nothing else seemed special. And, the video for him, the tape for him, the highlights, did not see any full games of Dylan Labe. He does look pretty good. All right, 2582 here. Again, we could take another running back if we really wanted to. Could use a little more tight end. I'm just going to grab my boy Ben Sinnott here. I think this is a nice pick at this point. Give me the third tight end. I'll give the team a read here. Honestly, might not even need a third tight end with Fant and with Dalton Schultz. But anyway, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and QB. Running back, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen. Wide receiver, we have the stack here, the double stack of Nico Collins and Tank Dell, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, Ladd McConkey, Xavier Leggett, Malachi Corley, and then just a pure best ball play here, Jalen Hyatt. Then at tight end, we have Dalton Schultz, Noah Fant, and Ben Sinnott, who did visit Kansas City. It's another one of the top 30 visits he had. But Ben Sinnott, where else is he possibly going? Sinnott, Kansas City. Sinnott, Giants. Maybe a Waller replacement. Sinnott. Oh, my God. This has got to be Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh or Tampa Bay? Pittsburgh, unfortunately, saw Sinnott. Tampa Bay saw Sinnott. Carolina saw Sinnott. That would be a nice one for him. Chicago saw Sinnott, maybe a Brock Bowers fallback. Denver saw Sinnott at the combine. Jacksonville saw Sinnott. Okay, for a top 30 at that. So again, Ben Sinnott's had a lot of visits, man, and a lot of those outcomes don't sound bad. The seam fucks. Thank you. Thank you, and fuck Rihanna. Thank you, Bendels. I appreciate both sides of that. Again, I think it's really, I will say that for the BBM board right now, and we'll see what these outcomes are for the rookie wide receivers. I think that this kind of build is one that I should have tackled more. Like, I think we're talking about fades for the video. My biggest regret as a fade is not dabbling more in different running back pockets. I've built a lot of fun zero RB teams, a lot of fun wide receiver heavy teams. Those teams, I think, will stand the test of time and have some shot, at least, keeping it live and heading into the playoffs, if nothing else, or for the big board. But I think in general, for how we manage the pockets here, I think it was nice getting Bijan. I think it was nice getting Mixon, nice getting Swift. Like, you could have given me just those 3 running backs and just kept building the team, and I would have been okay with it. Then to get Braylon Allen, who might have a good outcome, not because of his own talent, because of his size. Marshawn Lloyd, who is talented, has a good athletics for his size. Like, I like the room that we got here. I also think with this team, at this point, Tucker Kraft is not a bad discount, and I feel like the worst about my tight end room. And also, Brendan Rice went and Johnny Wilson went. So we're just going to take Tucker Kraft for tight end 4. I am more of a Luke Musgrave guy, but I think that's a pure luxury pick at a position in a 20-round draft that I think was my weakest here. So Tucker Kraft, come on down. Guy Jaden, super late today, Spaggy. Oh, thank you for calling me that. The one person in my life who called me Spaggy was a girl I had a crush on in high school. So weird things to pair together, and I don't appreciate it. Don't win it. Sinnott or Sinnott? I believe it's Sinnott. From at least what I heard from the announcers when I watched the stuff, but they could have been mispronouncing it. I don't know. But I believe it's Sinnott. Does look like Sinnott, though. I'll give you that. Find any interest in the rookie wide receivers after Rice and Johnny? I mean, there isn't really anybody left at this point. Javon Bakers went, and frankly, I think Rice and Johnny should be ahead of Baker. Pete made me take Luke McCaffrey on Saturday. I guess there's some teams reportedly interested in him. Cowing, some people like. Aeneas Smith has had a couple good visits in terms of the top 30. Aeneas Smith, man, he's had 12 visits. Jesus. Aeneas Smith, Chargers. These are combine visits. Miami at the combine. New England at his pro day. Virtual visit with the Jets for Aeneas Smith. Eagles, Aeneas Smith. Oh, God. I hate the teams that had too many visits because you have to do so much scrolling. Tampa Bay, Aeneas Smith. Carolina saw him at the combine. Really not in a lot of top 30s. Cowboys saw him at his pro day. So, like, Aeneas Smith, probably Detroit saw him. That would be a good one for him. I guess probably Aeneas Smith, but I think all those guys, to me, similar plays. Mac Hollins, meh. How many more spots on the big board? 5% left. I don't know what amount that is. Got to imagine that username Val just heard that rant about Aeneas Smith. And perhaps saw the Mac Hollins chat because they go 2 for 2. But either way, maybe great minds think alike. Aeneas Smith goes there. I am not in the bag for Aeneas Smith. Don't think he did anything that would stand out to me. 0.3 EPA per target, which is not bad. 32% avoided tackle rate is not bad. 24.5% target route run rate is not very good. Downfield, Aeneas Smith, only a 0.5 EPA on deep throws. Actually, no, he had a 0.8 EPA on deep throws. It could be worse. Again, there's too many guys in this class. I really don't believe. I guess in round 20, you could take a shot on Cowing, Aeneas Smith, and those guys. But ultimately, I think the values have pretty much been squeezed out of wide receiver. And for me, if you're going to take a late guy like Johnny Wilson's still it. Brendan Rice as well. But Johnny Wilson, the size, I think maybe could be a thing that people fall in love with a little bit. Brendan Rice just visits with all the top teams. Jerry Rice's son, those are kind of the main merits for him, along with being a great performer per target, EPA-wise in college. Like, he was great. He was absolutely great. All right. One more pick here. 2584. Pure luxury at this point. If it's pure luxury, Nothing screams luxury like one more shot at Alec Pierce. When you have Anthony Richardson, you take Alec Pierce in round 20. Final team here, a 2-5-9-4. The dynamic duo at QB, CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson. And running back, we got the bet on Atlanta entirely through Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift, Marshawn Lloyd, Braylon Allen. So we're trying to get Marshawn Lloyd. Great overall pick. Good athletic testing. Also good analytics. Braylon Allen just might get the draft capital because of his size. Wide receiver, Nico Collins and Tank Dell to correlate with our CJ Stroud. Possible Week 17 matchup, DeAndre Hopkins. We have Tyler Lockett as well. People think is the most undervalued player in drafts. We'll see. Vlad McConkey, Xavier Leggett help bail out the wide receiver room. Malachi Corley, a lot of good visits. Jalen Hyatt, Alec Pierce, veteran best ball guys. Dalton Schultz, Noah Fant, Ben Sinnott, and Tucker Kraft. 4 wide receivers, including, did we need it? No, I think you could make the case Schultz and Fant's enough, but I felt good at every position. I think I crushed this one. So here's going to be the hope, guys, that I'm hoping the big board doesn't fill by tomorrow. If it does, I don't know. I think I still have some plans that I could do next week, but I don't know what I would do when the big board fills. But either way, we're going to check to see if there's a tournament tomorrow, and then there'll be a stream if there is. So check back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Hopefully, we'll be open one more day. Of course, follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. Check out our promo code SPLASH on Underdog if you are a new person on there. If you haven't signed up, double your deposit to $100. Of course, make sure to subscribe as well. Hit the like button. That helps out quite a bit. Probably also fucking crushed at MLB yesterday. Plus 6.5 units, hitting a couple plus 300 bets. It's weird betting in baseball because you're not hitting usually at a 50% clip. You're hitting at a lot of these bets that are plus 300, plus 400, home run bets at plus 1,000. It's a weird kind of betting, but probably has been really fun to play with on there. And with the sportsbook filtering in particular, if you're in Florida, just look at Hard Rock bets. If you only have money in your DraftKings account, just look at DraftKings bets. I'm playing with that more too off stream. So check that out. Really, the tool is coming along in a major way. And if you want to build your bankroll for best ball, that is a good way to do it. Stochastic, promo code SPLASH on there, though. Nobody's signing up for Stochastically. Go sign up for Stochastic, guys. It's a great site, great tools. Thank you to the Squirt Squad, all these fine folks who have us put the show on, and I appreciate that. You too can support the show hitting that join button down below, $4.99 a month. We'll get you in the Squirt Squad, and also the private Discord, of course, access there. More to come, including the Spags rankings when BBM is out. So coming up next week, I got to really start blurbing the second that we know the NFL draft outcomes. Game responsibly, bonk your dog if it's being horny, and I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with more. So see you guys then. Enjoy your days. Why am I doing so many hand gestures? And good luck.